Hey guys, welcome to Small Talk Podcast. I'm Tiny, your host, and I have my panel guests here with me today, an all men's panel, which I'm super excited about. I'd like you guys to introduce yourselves. Let's start with Jew.
I'm Julian. I go by Jew, True to Jew, representative True to Production.
Shout it out.
My name is Kobe. Just go by Kobe.
Kobe.
You
know it's Kadeem. I'm Demi.
Favorite. Demi's
I don't know what you're talking about.
Demi's co-hosting with me today. He's a favorite of a lot of you guys. So today's topic is about men's mental health, right? So I'm super excited to get into that. But first, just want to check everybody's temperature. How you guys are feeling? How's everybody feeling today?
I'm good. I'm cool.
Okay.
I'm keeping it easy.
See mood.
Feeling pretty good. It's my first winter in New York, so getting adjusted to it.
Exciting.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
No.
Where are you originally from?
Originally from Texas, but I lived in Florida for the last 2 years.
What part? It's all right.
Abilene, yeah, small city.
What's it called?
Abilene.
Abilene.
Yeah, small city. It's 3 hours west of Dallas.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh.
What's up?
Wow.
My winter actually in Pennsylvania, in Harrisburg.
Yes.
The mountains.
You built for this.
Like 50-50.
That's where me and Jew met. Actually, I went to college with Jew.
You went to Penn State too?
He went to Penn State.
Dope.
I was in there on a whole nother journey.
So, yeah, me and Jew go way back. So, yeah, firstly, I want to say thank you guys for coming because you guys could be anywhere in the world and you guys are here with me. So that means a lot to me. And I know this topic is very trending and popular. So part of the reason Kobe asked me this before we started shooting was why did I come up with doing this topic? So firstly, it was Kadeem's idea initially. He brought the idea to me and I thought it was dope. Also, just some of my background, I'm a social worker. So I'm very passionate about the topic. And recently, I had a male friend of mine that committed suicide. So it kind of sparked me to this is something we need to talk about. Then it's a few of my guy friends are going through mental illness and mental, health issues. And I'm like, why aren't guys talking about this, right? Like, why are y'all so scared to talk about mental health? Why are y'all scared to go to therapy? What is it that is taboo in our community, in our culture? Why is that? So I'm going to open the floor with just starting with that. Like, what do you think about when you think about mental health, as a man?
Okay.
You don't have to start, but it's open for anyone.
Well, I'll start.
Let's go, bro.
Pretty much, when it comes to mental health, as a male, I would say, men only started talking about, mental health, I would say, within the last, 5 years. Growing up, it'd be, you got to be tough or have this edgy type of thing as a male. So I think that's the biggest thing. But, as the climate of the days is starting to change, with even, even with the boss woman, the boss female, the whole the community, the LGBT, everybody, everybody want equality and things like that. But there are people that starting to fall into that whole natural idea of toughness and all that other stuff is starting to get broken down. Because you got some females that actually might think they tougher than dudes and stuff like that. But it's so it's the conversation is becoming more, how should I say, people mindsets. People are starting to care about other people's mentality and their mind and how they, express themselves, or even becoming, in a lot of things in the world are becoming a little bit more violent and a little bit things are being more graphic on TV, so certain things
social media,
certain things are being kind of, not, I wouldn't say forced upon people, but it's also like you said, social media, where you could compare your life with the next person's life, or you could compare it with the celebrity life, or now you even you probably never even noticed yourself comparing it, but now you're actually doing it because you have access to see what's actually going on with that person. You get what I'm saying? And
it's way easier to get
and it's way easier to get right.
So way easier.
And it's way easier. So, and I feel as far as growing up with the whole aspect of mental health, I didn't or at least the idea of taking asking your homie are you okay? You know what I'm saying? Really holding a conversation with your friend and being yo, I seen you you know what I'm saying, crying or you know what I'm saying, you had some type of your demeanor, the way you carried yourself this day was kind of off. So are you okay? What's going on? Versus yo, toughen up, fam. Get your shit together. You all right, my G? You bitching right now? You get what I'm saying? That's where that's where I come from. I really come from my block, my neighborhood, the way I was just upbrought, because I didn't have a father. I had father figures like my grandfather, my uncles, but I didn't have a father. So it's I always felt that urge to try to how am I going to find out to learn how to become a man? You get what I'm saying? So my idea of trying to understand what a man was between TV, comparing it to like what they say this is a real dude would be a man, real nigga, whatever. You get what I'm saying? Between my homies raising me and my friends, we raised each other. You get what I'm saying? Like this is how you shouldn't act. This is how you should act. Toughen up here. You get what I'm saying? Certain things until you start to hit a certain age and you see different things, and it's like, nah, bro, like. Why every time we have an argument, we got to go into the elevator ride and have an elevator ride up and down these steps, up and down the elevator, you get what I'm saying, because of a disagreement. Right. You get what I'm saying? But now you become why? Because now I become overly aggressive. Like all through college, I was overly aggressive with everything. You couldn't say nothing to me. That was a wild one. I couldn't but it's like I had to, that's not what you want to, if you want to be successful in life, you got to try to tweak that, you get what I'm saying? Until you start to see other things that make you realize like, that's not how you want to carry yourself, especially if you want to get into these certain type of doors. You want to really make money. You get what I'm saying? Like,
make a name for yourself.
I think a lot of times in our communities, you know, when you come up in that environment, you can't tolerate any disrespect or any perceived slight. And so you're quick to have that reaction of like, oh, I got to nip this in the bud right here. Because if you show weakness, or at least this is what we're taught, is if you show weakness as a man, that's gonna get pounced on. You know, and then every sort of interaction, you kind of frame it from that perspective. Like, hey, I can't show any weakness. I got to make sure that I'm on my P's and Q's. And that's why you respond sometimes with that aggression, right? Immediately before you even take the time to reconsider and just chill and be like, maybe that's not how they meant it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think the stigma associated with mental health is still heavy in our community. And I think that's one of the things that makes men less likely to talk about it. Right. In an open way. You know what I mean? Yeah. I feel comfortable with that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, to piggyback what both of them said, like he said, I don't think mental health was talked about prior, like 5 years ago. I know Charlemagne has been
Charlemagne heavy.
Pushing it heavy.
Well, unless you got Hot 97 or you know who he is.
105.1, yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like 105,
But even me growing up, and I had my father in my life, like I said, like it was just like, you know, man up, or you never really thought about it. You just like, all right, I'm going through the motions right now. Maybe I just need to toughen up or get myself together, and then I'll be fine. Right. So I don't think it was talked about at all, really.
Yeah. I think like to piggyback what all you guys were saying, like just growing up, that's how the men were supposed to be tough. Like Kobe was kind of saying, you want to just you don't want to look like a punk in our communities, right? You don't want to look a certain way, so you got to carry this demeanor where you're so tough. How often do people check on you and say, "Are you okay?" Like, you know, how often do people do that for men? We just assume that you guys are okay. Right?
Because we got to smile or we act in a certain way. Right? Or, you know what I'm saying? Like,
you're expected to be a certain way. Your demeanor. You're especially like you were saying with social media and all this stuff, and Kadeem made a good point. I think it's so easy now to get depressed, right?
Oh, for sure.
Especially with social media and like how they spike all this stuff, how men are supposed to be, right? Now it's like, you got to provide, you got to take care of me. You know, if I'm only dating a nigga with 6 figures and all this other, you know, I'm not doing 50-50. So that's a lot of pressure on a man.
Exactly. And you just got to sit there and just hold it down because... the majority, or you might think the majority, like you could, and that's another thing, like you'll trick yourself. Like I had to like I said, you could vouch. Like the person that I am today and the person that I was, I would say probably was like 10 years ago. 10 years ago,
yeah,
I'm a totally different person because it's like, but it took my own self growth. You get what I'm saying? To really my own accountability to really realize like, yo, you bugging the fuck out. Like, it's either you gonna die or go to jail. Like, I only say, I went to college, like, my whole college journey was like, I met Tiny and all my other friends and people I consider family. Right. But my whole college, my whole college journey was literally like, to get away. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had no idea, like, my homies was fighting indictments and people, we was getting murdered, like, people was dying, like, so it was just like...
That's important to talk, because we were talking about that on the ride here, too, right? And I think I want to just shed light on that, too, right? So we went away to college, Penn State, right? And it's so funny when you hear Penn State, you think like, oh, like college school, like, you know, party school, college. And it's like not realizing, like when we went out, first of all, I feel like we went to Penn State Projects, the first one.
Yeah, everybody know that. Everybody know.
You know, Drew was there for a whole different reason than other people, right? Like some people were there because I got a scholarship, or, you know, my whole family went here, or, you know, I'm fortunate where my parents could pay, right? And for his perspective, where you came from a culture where like, I'm trying to get out, right? Yeah, so my mom's trying to make sure I don't go to jail, or I'm not, because I'm involved in some stuff, so just go. We don't know how we're going to pay for it, but just get up out of here. So it kind of fucked up how you engaged in college,
and
right?
Like the whole, like even the whole, I could have went in undecided, but I straight was like, Ma, what you think I should major in?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what make the most money? Engineers. You get what I'm saying? Oh, all right, I'm going to engineering.
But
you know
not, you're not having that proper guidance is the point I'm making.
Exactly,
you know, so
right.
you go to college and we're not taking it. We're 18 years old. We don't know what we doing.
We just trying to have a good
old
old
time.
time.
You know what I'm saying? Especially young men.
Some people still figuring out life.
Exactly. So I'm sending an 18-year-old college, and people out there, not just Jew, just a lot of the people I noticed from my community where we came up, we're in college, not knowing anything, no direction, and they're treating it like the block. All the men, right? They're treating college like it's the block.
Yeah, well,
like,
that's exactly what it's like, though. Like, that's like,
and it's like, yo, you know, niggas are getting kicked out left, right, and center. They over there fighting. They selling drugs, and we're in college. Like,
and in my head, it was just like, and then before I even got there, I was hearing like New York versus this state or New York versus the, like it was just like a little bit of this and that. So it's just like I just came from beef, so now I got to be on more. You get what I'm saying? Like, and
Still
it's like I got to be on my P's and Q's, but I'm supposed to be out here trying to get higher education. Then my ideas of what college is like how high, drumline, higher learning. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, this about to be lit. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's about to be lit here. Like, shit, I got probably a couple friends that went away to school, but they stories is lit. Like, they not telling you, yeah, I had to do this homework or this project. They telling, yo, bro, I went to this party. It was lit. The fraternities, the sororities, the this and that. And you just like, yo, it's going to be a movie. Like, why am I on the block? I'm out.
So what are the demographics at Penn State? Not to get off topic, but like, would you say it's a largely white
Penn
space?
State, the main campus, right, that everybody hears about, we didn't go there initially, right? They have like 20 little campuses that's designed for people like us, right? We come from communities.
Oh, wow.
It's crazy when you think about it, right? So the Penn State, the main campus, we weren't good enough to get in, right? So they created like 26 other campuses for people like us where we couldn't afford it. Our grades weren't good enough. And we go to these little campuses surrounded by it. So those campuses were predominantly black.
Which is actually like the towns, their local towns, community college.
Exactly.
Penn State some way somehow bought them out of something.
Exactly. And they just slapped the Penn State name on it, right? So our initial school, right? Well, the first one we went to was predominantly black and Hispanic kids or whatever, right? With the
Philly.
school. But the town was all white. Right, like straight white. Like people were looking at us like we were.
Like, I never grew up in New York. We never experienced no. You know, you hear racial stories, but you don't experience no. Like until we went there, like KKK parade. Like
they would like throw.
Like that,
I think we talked about that on the last pod. They were calling me a spick. They was throwing stuff at me. Like they was wilding out there.
I got into a situation out there, and it just was like They took my picture, and they put it in the newspaper. Wow. I couldn't go nowhere. Like
getting them stairs,
like, oh, that's him. Like,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
because
that's
the town
him.
was so
that's
small.
That. Like, you know what I'm saying? And then it was, but they, you know, it was just a whole situation.
You think you know racism until you go to little towns like that.
You really experiencing it, like, oh, snap.
So as a black man, I'm assuming like in that type of, it was like culture
and that's even
shock.
like, it's a culture shock. It plays with your mind because now you got to deal with, like you say, that's why, like, this is about mental health. So it's like all that, like, it'll all play with your mind, but you don't sit and think, when I go talk, I'm going to go talk to the guidance counselor about this. So I'm going to go speak to myself.
So
like, it's just like, this is racism. This is what I'm supposed to experience.
Why is that?
This is what this goes on. This is my just dues for living in America or the world. Sure. This is how I just got to deal with it. You get what I'm saying? But you don't know who to talk to about, I just felt racial tension. And then that's another thing. I dealt with this in my job. You know how hard it is to, first of all, you could deal with all the racial stuff that you know is going on. All the eyes and the everything. But you know how hard it is to prove that person is racist? You get what I'm saying? You can know in your spirit and your soul. You get what I'm saying? So a racist could deny all day he's not racist. Right. But go about saying and moving and showing all types of actions that prove that he's racist. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But I'm not racist. I'm just what the teacher just got fired for saying he was
I know what you're talking about. I can't.
He didn't say like he was racist. The kids said, "Are you racist?" And he said, "Yeah," but he actually said like I feel like I'm white superior or something like that. Like he's superior
to the black race.
The white, like I feel like my race is more superior, and you're a white guy and a black.
Question.
You know what I'm saying? So,
do you guys feel like as a black man specifically, not just as a man, but as a black man, it's a lot tougher to discuss mental health, to think about that? Like,
I think so. I think like June was talking about, when you navigate in white spaces as a black man, you're under resourced already. You know what I'm saying? You don't have the representation in, I would say, the public health services that we need to really feel comfortable to even have a conversation about mental health. Mm-hmm. But I definitely think that it has a huge impact on you and you know, your desire, first of all, to talk about it, because if you're not surrounded by people who look like you, and people that you can feel that you can really truly trust, why would you open up to those people?
Yeah, you're not gonna feel comfortable.
You don't have that level of comfortability, right?
And sometimes we're not even comfortable talking to our own homies.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Yeah,
that's the more insidious part of it, right? Is like where we're not even comfortable talking amongst ourselves, right? So that's why I think this is incredibly powerful. What y'all are doing, appreciate the vulnerability and you sharing, you know, some of your experiences.
Yeah,
and that's why I say like last 10 years been straight. I have to try to change. Like even down this, I got one friend. I probably got more than one friend, but my homie Mel, we be on the phone for hours. But growing up, it was like I be at work, he at work, he work. We both working, but we could, you know, you got the headphone and you could just be chopping it with your homie. But you look at it like that was pause. So excuse me, like that was kind of like you can't be on your phone with a boy for that long, grown. Like what? Like you get what I'm saying? So you look at it like I'm really having conversation. I'm on the phone with an hour and some change with my homie. So I'm just like. The first couple times it was like, damn, we was just on the phone for an hour and some change.
But as you get older, you realize you need that now.
You need that. You need that person you could have a conversation with. Like I know I can have a conversation with my mother about certain things, and I got like that man that you gotta. I feel like every male should have that one friend, that one elder or somebody that you could speak to about a male that you could relate to.
He said it last show. He said every man needs a confidant, a comrade, and it was the 3 C's.
A confidant, a comrade.
I can't remember the last one, but you definitely definitely somebody to confide in.
Yeah, somebody
to vent to,
and without
somebody that understands you, somebody to listen to you without judgment.
And if they do give you something, like if they do tell you or judge or give you some type of criteria or critique about what you said,
criticism or something.
It's nothing to hurt you or make you feel like you get what I'm saying, they belittling you or something like that.
We all need people who's going to tell us the truth. Not be biased and give it to us straight.
Right. You and even understand the opinion is nothing but an opinion.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? What this person is saying
to it.
And being receptive to an opinion. Because a lot of us get your homie say, yo, I don't like the way that look on you. What? You get what I'm saying? Like sometimes we get real like with certain things, but I feel like that comes with that whole idea of what a male should, you get what I'm saying? And even that whole like things like that.
You need people who tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear.
Yeah, right.
For sure.
And
that's
understand like everybody, and it's a lot of yes men out here that are yes you all day, but they just not really telling you.
A lot of these celebrities, that's why they act the way they act, because they don't got nobody to hold them accountable.
Right.
And sometimes they forget where they come from, and they just in another world.
All right.
But I think like we were just saying why that's so important, right? You want to have people around you that you feel comfortable to be vulnerable with, because you can see it when someone doesn't have that, right? Like, I know this is going to get you hyped, but Kanye, right? So I think about Kanye when I say this, because you can see that he don't have people around him that really care and love him. You know what I'm saying? He lost his mother, right? I'm not making an excuse for the behavior, but, you know, I'm looking from a social worker perspective, right? This is a man with mental illness. You have bipolar disorder. You're off your meds. You're not surrounded by anybody that truly loves and cares you to pull you and be like, yo, you're bugging. Let me check you. You know what I'm saying? So you're surrounded by all these. I don't got no celebrity friends. I don't got nobody to check me, and that's so important because it's quick to lose your mind. And
I feel like I feel like with him, it's that, but then it's a little bit more like.
I don't want to get into a whole Kanye debate, but
but like you said, it's the black men trying to dominate or trying to be in white spaces. You get what I'm saying? You ever seen that? And I'm gonna tell you what solidified it when I was thinking like that is Kanye, and it's definitely a product of going through the whole mental with trying to dominate in white spaces. And I feel like that because if you watched episode 8 of season 4, which is Atlanta, if you watch Atlanta, he just did, Donald Glover's a genius. He did
I love that show.
He did an episode with, I'm sorry, I don't want to miss the black guy. You ever seen the Goofy movie? He did the whole episode about the Goofy movie and basically broke down how the Goofy movie was basically created. It was the whole like Disney.
I heard that,
and it's a black guy. I forgot the guy names, but he became the CEO of Disney by mistake. And in the process of that, he wanted to bring the culture into Disney. You get what I'm saying? Just like they do with their culture and all that other stuff with their movies. But they gave him a hard time. Like they talked about it, like it was a lot of things that he wanted to be done in the movie, but they gave him a hard time. But it was more so like he was trying to uplift our community, black community. Right. But they gave him a hard time and this, that, and the third. But once he start, I guess his behavior start changing and things start happening. They hit him with he crazy. He going crazy or whatever. And the scenario they tried to run with it was like the dude went crazy or whatever the case may be, and he just killed himself or whatever the case may be. He actually went missing. But it made me think about like when we start to like at least like when I feel like when you try to dominate in these industries or whatever the case may be, and you are like even like and you are a minority, and then the majority are the others, you get what I'm saying? And it's like the majority of them don't want you really to win, or they feel like it was a scene where he said he wanted I want to say Huey P when he's sitting in the throne or something like that, an episode with like Goofy and his son, they find a picture of Huey P or something like that. And they actually had the joint drew up with Goofy and all that, like that's what it was. But they took that out and put Bigfoot in the movie instead. If you ever seen the Goofy movie, Bigfoot and all, like to just throw things off or whatever. Right. And that's when they said Fam lost his mind or whatever. But I understood why. You get what I'm saying? It's like I have a vision, but yeah, you're trying to take away my vision.
They don't want you to
and you're
succeed.
not, you get what I'm saying? And I'm trying to uplift my culture, but you're just trying to
tweak it.
Make sure we here. You get what I'm saying?
You never get ahead.
And they don't never want us to get ahead. And I feel like it's bigger than us. You get what I'm saying? Like even down to urban communities in the education system, even down to learning about, I got homies in jail in the feds and they learned about financial freedom, financial education in jails. But I ain't take not one school in high school, elementary, or anything that taught me about banking or anything. You get what I'm saying? But let me go through this system. It's like you're gonna be mad at somebody, don't be mad. You get what I'm saying? It's like that'll play in a person's mind. Like when you starting to open these doors and you starting to see certain things going on, it's like I got money now, but now like I would go Kanye crazy too. Like I
saw something recently. It said once we started getting degrees, that's when the value dropped.
Yeah, that's so true.
Right, and I could believe that wholeheartedly. Because for some reason now you don't need a degree. You know what I'm saying? They tell you that no, you don't need it. You go get this, go get that. Be an entrepreneur. Yep. Get your bag. You know what I'm saying? Now it's just like
our people started getting bachelor degrees, like high school diplomas now. Now all of a sudden the value.
Growing up, my whole mother go to school, go to college, get the degree. You're gonna win. All right, cool. But then now as that things is changing, I'm like, Mom, what you saying is not necessarily all the way true.
But that's interesting.
And now a lot of us in debt.
Don't talk about that. I get depressed.
Not me, but
well, me. I would say me. Go ahead, Kobe.
I think one of the things that you touched on a little bit is like, you know, in our community, it's so easy to call somebody crazy when you have a difficult time explaining what they're going through.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like that's the thing where it's like, oh, Kanye just went crazy or he lost his mind, right? That's our level of familiarity with mental health. But in reality, there's a lot of things that he's been going through that it's not easy. It doesn't fit a typical box for society to explain it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because a lot of times these places, they don't even have people who could really
relate,
take a step back and have that relatability to Kanye and be like, okay, as a black man, I can see what he's going through.
Right.
Not to go too deep on Kanye.
It's okay. But I think what you're saying is important. That's the whole point. I'm saying it's so important to have that person, right? As a man, like to have that person I could call to say like, yo, I'm not good right now, right? And I was talking to a few guys before I did this pod, just to gauge like how men were thinking, right? And I asked about like therapy, right, with guys, and two guys kind of said similar things. I thought it was interesting. I want to know if y'all feel the same way, right? So one guy asked if like how he felt about therapy, and he said that he felt like it was the responsibility of the women in his life because he didn't feel comfortable speaking to other men, right? Another person said that they just felt like they feel more comfortable speaking to a loved one versus going to a professional to go speak about their issues, because why would I pay somebody that doesn't know me to talk about my issues, right? So I wanted to bring that to the table because I want to put my effort into breaking that thought, right? Because I'm a mental health professional, right? And I know how important mental health is. And I just want to know, like, just to gauge as men, how y'all feel like when it comes to the idea of therapy and talking to someone, not just a friend, which I think is important to have, but talking to a professional when you realize, like, I have an issue, I need to address it, you know? How do y'all feel like when you think about the whole concept of going to therapy? Have you ever been to therapy? If you're, willing to say.
I have been to therapy, but it was really like couples relationship.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. And at first, I was against it. I'm gonna be honest with you. I originally felt the same way. Like, why would I go to somebody who I don't know to try to adjudicate this thing between you and I? Why would we just not have that conversation? You know what I'm saying? But then, as I matured a little bit, and as I obviously just get older, right, you realize like having an independent person there who has a professional skill set can bring value to the conversation that you have. They may not necessarily be there to take a side, but they can give you some tools that you can use to have a better conversation in the future. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times those conversations that you have with your significant other, as we all know, can get very emotional. You know what I'm saying? And like we could really, really get into a situation where you're like, yo, we don't really even want to talk about it. But if you have somebody who's there, who's dispassionate about it, right? And they're sort of outside of the frame.
Unbiased.
Unbiased and unbiased.
They can definitely advise you and they can give you some tools that can help you for sure.
Okay.
So at first I was definitely against it as well. So I get where people are coming from when it comes to I ain't talking to this person.
So with your experience with it, I know you did couples therapy. After it, how do you feel about therapy?
Overall, I think it's definitely a value add service. I think, it just depends on what you're looking for. You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously, I agree that you can have these conversations with friends, family members, loved ones. Those are very important. But I think if you're really struggling to sort of, I guess, break out of some cycles that you notice in yourself, then going to talk to a mental health professional can be beneficial for sure.
Okay. What about you, Demi?
I've never been to therapy, but I'm definitely open to it. Okay. I feel like you got nothing to lose, It's a place to vent. It's a place to see things from another perspective where you're not seeing it.
Yeah.
So I'm open to it.
What do you think would ever bring you to go do it? Do you feel like you would just try it or something has to be going on?
I think for me, because I'm more of a optimist, and I feel like I always got good energy, and I'm always a positive guy, so I don't really get in like bad slumps. I mean, we all get in bad slumps, but I tend to bounce back out of it. But if I feel like if I really get in like a real deep moment, then I would definitely do it.
Just to note, you don't have to be going through anything to go to therapy.
That is true too. That is true too. And I think it's all in the framing, right? Because it's like every great player had a coach. You know what I'm saying?
True.
And it's like I
Powerful.
think taking away some of that stereotype and some of the stigma associated with therapy can definitely be
I
beneficial.
see what you're saying.
Yeah.
It should be normal, like getting a spa massage or something
Exactly.
like that.
So-
It's self care, bro.
Before I get to Drew, I just when I was explaining to one of the people I was talking to when they said that, like, oh, why would I pay a professional? Why would I pay someone I don't know to tell their problems, right? I was trying to get them to change their mind frame. It's just like going to the doctor, right? It's just like going to the gym with your physical health, right? You don't think twice to go to the gym, right? I want to get in shape. I want to eat right. I want to do it. It's the same thing. You have to take care of your mental just as much as you have to take care of your physical. And I think it needs to be higher on your priority list, especially as a man, because I think you guys deal with a lot. And a lot of people don't shed light on that because you're expected to be a provider. You're expected to be tough. You're expected to be, a protector. And that's a lot of pressure, while still trying to find yourself and not having that, are you okay? You know what I'm saying? Are you how you feeling today? Like you're not really getting that all the time. You know what I mean? Or it's not okay to cry. Like he's crying, like that's weird. Why he crying? So it's like I want to help try to break that barrier.
You made me find a therapist now. Home my insurance
Good,
cover
and that's where I hope that people that see this will be like, let me go contact my insurance. And you can get
My
Medicaid.
insurance cover. Let's get
you can reach out and find therapists other way. But to go to Drew, like how do you feel about therapy? Have you ever been to therapy? If you feel like sharing, what are your thoughts about it?
I've never been to therapy.
Really?
She said, really?
Nah. I will say I feel like everybody needs therapy. You don't gotta be going through shit to.
If Liv was here, Liv would have been like,
God.
therapy.
Well, Liv, the co-host, she goes crazy for therapy. Yes. And I'm gonna tell you why after you. I'm gonna tell you why. After you answer, I'm gonna tell you why I feel like it's very important. Not specifically for you, but people similar to you. That needs why it's important.
I never been to therapy. I talked to my shorty about
And it's not her responsibility to make sure that you mentally. I just want to put that out there, okay?
She's heavy on that.
Because a lot of guys think like that. They feel like it's their girlfriend or their partner's responsibility. That's their therapy, and it's not. It's not her responsibility.
We feel comfortable with shooting our shit with them. Like we could,
and that's
what I'm saying? Like it's
just like how y'all come home from work
and y'all want to talk about y'all day. You know what I'm saying?
Bitch. Let me tell you.
I'm outnumbered here, so I'm not even gonna get into it with y'all.
But nah, like how should I say? Like only reason why I thought about it, but my whole thing is I need somebody that's gonna understand where I'm coming from. Like I don't want how should I say? Like I have experienced trauma.
You say you haven't?
I have experienced trauma.
Like
I have experienced trauma. Like you get what I'm saying? Like I have been the kid inside of a classroom where they like do anybody been stopped and frisked? And I'm the only one like,
PTSD, all that
shit is
like,
real.
That's what I was gonna get
and
into.
And then the moment I
undiagnosed
turn
in our
around, it's
community.
fucking up my mind because it's like, what you mean you ain't never been stopped? You know what I'm saying? Like, what? Like, that only happens, you know what I'm saying? It's like, so if I was to speak to you about my incidents, you would never understand. You couldn't gravitate how it feel to be thrown up against. So you couldn't, I need somebody that's going to understand that.
That's
and it's
what
like,
Dr. Umar be saying.
how do I shop around for somebody? You know what I'm saying? I could shop around. And it's like, I probably could shop around, but then it's like, nowadays I don't have the time to shop around and spend hours trying to find a therapist or somebody I can speak to. It's like, but I can speak to my homie and maybe he could, you know what I'm saying? Like, he relatable. So that's why, like, my homie Mel is probably my therapist.
I think you made an excellent point. I'm glad that you brought that up, right? Because this is something I talk about with my girlfriends too, because especially as like a therapist and all that stuff, the process of finding a therapist is a lot. It's not easy. Exactly what he just said. You will go through, like you said, I've been to therapy myself before, more than once. I'm currently in therapy now, right? And I've went through that whole, like, I had, like, my first therapist was a white gay guy. So you could imagine, like, we didn't connect at all, right? Like, you're from, like, a whole nother world, right? Yeah. So he was gay, he was white. And I'm just like, you don't know what the fuck I'm going through, right? Like, you have no idea. So, you know, it is important to find you. I think as, like, someone that's searching for therapy, right? You want to kind of find someone that you can connect with, like maybe someone that's Black, maybe someone that you feel like came from the neighborhood that you did, right? That you might be able to feel comfortable and more vulnerable. And it's tough to find that because there's not, in the social regular therapy field, there's not a lot, first of all, there's not a lot of men in mental health, period, right? This is why we're talking about it now, right? There's not a lot of y'all that enter that field to help others. It's like 85 to 90% are female therapists. It's not a lot of men. Then Black men is like 2%. Right, so that's probably contributed to why y'all don't want to go to therapy because it's like I'm not going to try to talk to
like who,
right?
Like, I'm about to go tell this white guy about or whatever, or you get what I'm saying, or somebody didn't grow up in an urban community. He can't even fathom what I'm saying. Him is a movie in his head right now. And I'm telling him like, this is how I live, bro. So, like this is like the fuck. This just happened
the whole point of therapy, right? As a therapist, is not to like give you advice, right? It's not to do that. And I think people go in like that. Like I'm a vet and I want advice, and that's not the goal of therapy. I'm not here to give you advice, right? I'm kind of here to guide you, and you're going to find the answers on your own, right? So while you're talking, the same way you're talking to your man's male, you're talking to anyone. Except like Kobe said, I have a skill set. Right, I went to school, I got degrees, I did all this work, right? So I could be able to identify with what you're telling, whether I can't relate or not, right? I have clients that I don't know their world at all, right? I got a white lady client that she's crying because her husband ain't, take her out to do her nails. I can't relate to that, right? Mm-hmm. But as a therapist, I have to try to use my skill set to help you get through that, right? Mm-hmm. And that's where the profession comes in, right? That's where it comes in, and it's like, and I think it's all about your mindset going in, right? Like, I need help. I'm ready to be vulnerable. I'm ready to talk and take this person's professional advice, not advice, but guidance to help navigate stuff.
And that's why, as many times as I thought about it and was like, I'm about to go see about therapists or whatever the case may be, I'll get on the phone, I'll call my homie. And as like you said, their job is to help you guide yourself to help yourself. Mm-hmm. As I'm on the phone with my homie, I'm like, I'm bugging the fuck out. I hope that process. You know what I'm saying? Like that, and that's like, oh no, I could go about this and like, or he'll like, you know what I'm saying? We done reminisce or spoke, and I'm just like, yo, bro, you can't believe it. And he's like, yo, bro, and now I done got my own shit together, and I'm like, you know what? But
not necessarily addressing the issue, right? It depends. Your friend is not gonna help you. No, I'm not gonna say that, right?
No, but it's because it depends on the friend. Because right. Me and my homie Mel, we are raw enough where we like, he'll tell me like, you bugging the fuck out. You get what I'm saying? You should go about this, and I tell him like, you're bugging the fuck out. Like, and the first couple times when he told, I'm like, you bugging. Like, what you mean? And then you gotta be real. You gotta be realistic with yourself. Like, you know what I'm saying? Take some accountability. If you know you fucked up,
you gotta own it.
Everybody, like I don't like, and that's the whole mindset of like L's, you get what I'm saying? Taking a loss. I switch it to lessons. It's a lesson. You get what I'm saying? Like, we've been so wired to L's. You taking a loss. But what happened? The lesson, I like that. You get what I'm saying? We learn. You get what I'm saying? We live to learn and we learn to live. Mm-hmm. That's really my mantra. Like, that's my shit. You know what I'm saying? You learn to live and you live to learn. You get what I'm saying? Because that's what life is. Life, every day you should be learning something. Life is a learning experience. But until you learn how to live, you can never enjoy your life. You get what I'm saying? So you got to learn how to, you learn, and then now you try fit what's a valuable, what's a wealth, what's your, whatever your idea of or, a good life is. Whatever your idea of a good life is, that's, you learning every day. So it's like, just go by that. But therapy and all that, yeah.
What were you going to say, Kobe?
I was going to say, Tiny, so you were saying that you have a skill set.
Yeah.
And I was going to ask, do you think it's the role of a mental health professional to help people expedite the process of like solving the problem for themselves? Not, maybe I shouldn't say problem, but like just that journey of self-discovery. Do you think that is the role of a mental health professional, is like to help them expedite that process?
That's a good question. That's an excellent.
great question,
That's a
Kobe.
great question, Kobe.
Like,
You're gonna have to come back on the pod. Okay?
I listened to too many pods. I think I should have been a
No,
host.
let me tell you something to answer that question, right? So recently, which I did want to speak about this regardless, right? Recently, I watched this amazing documentary on Netflix called Stutz by, y'all know Jonah Hill.
Yeah.
Jonah Hill. He directed it, and it was basically, and I need you guys to all watch it. That's your homework. And text me after y'all watch it. Okay.
Yes, mother.
Okay. So, and I really want. I've been spreading it to a bunch of people I know that's struggling with depression and stuff. Right. So, Jonah Hill, his therapist completely changed his life, and he felt like it was important to put it on a platform to get it out to other people what he did. Right. So he did this documentary where they're kind of like in a session. The whole documentary. It's about an hour and a half long, and this therapist discusses like his approach to how he helped him and gave him tools, right? So with therapy, right, they teach you in like social work school and stuff, they teach you that like you really just, you're guiding the patient through the client through their issues or whatever. You're never trying to really necessarily expedite the process, right? It's kind of like when they're ready, they are. So I'm just here to like kind of aid you, not necessarily tell you what to do, not like, you're going to figure it out and I'm here just to kind of guide you. So this specific therapist, he felt like, I'm not with that, right? And I kind of struggle with this in social work school because I'm like, when you talk to a client that's dealing with depression, right? Which all of us have experienced depression at some form, right? So it's like they come in, they're depressed, they tell me their issues, and then you're still leaving my office still feeling hopeless and depressed, right? And as a therapist, I feel like shit, right? Because it's like, I'm not supposed to tell you what to do. I'm supposed to just guide you and you're going to figure it out, but you leave in my office feeling like shit. Like, so did I do my job? Did I do, you know what I'm saying? I'm not getting any gratification from this. So, but that's what they teach you in social work school. Like, you don't tell them what to do. You sit there and you let them figure it out. And it's like, I put myself in the client's shoes and I'm like, I don't like that. You know what I'm saying? So this therapist felt the same way, right? So he came up with a whole approach how to tackle depression where he's going to be like, shut up, listen to me. I'm going to tell you exactly what to do when you leave this room. You're going to feel better instantly, right? So it's these skill sets and these tools that he gives you. And he tells you this. It was 3 things that he said that everyone has to come to conclusion that you're going to deal with for the rest of your life. I can't remember all 3 of them, but 2 of them were uncertainty and I can't even remember the other 2, but it was like 3 things that like everyone's going to have to come to terms with no matter what. Pain, uncertainty, and something else. And everybody's going through this, right? That's why you hear celebrities and rich people committing suicide, right? And us coming from like, we come from the trenches and shit. We like.
Rest in peace to Tommy, the green and white Power Ranger.
Yeah, he committed
That shit broke my
suicide.
heart, man. That shit hurt my heart,
every
man.
color ranger.
When you hear stuff like that, right? You hear these people that like you think coming where we come from, right? Where we struggle with poverty, we didn't have fathers in the home, or you know what I'm saying? We're seeing people get shot. My friend got shot. This person got killed. This is normal to us. This is what I'm saying. Like this is why therapy is so important because we think that shit is normal until you go to you talk to someone else. But that's not normal. They'll be fucked up behind that, right? Like you seen somebody? I seen 1,000 people get shot growing up. You know what I'm saying? And I'm conditioned to thinking that shit is regular, and it's not. It's very traumatic. For sure. You know what I'm saying? So. All of these, so we think that, okay, if we get money and we could get out the hood and we could take care of our family, we're going to be good. Not necessarily. No, because then you see these rich people that they never seen nobody get shot in their life. They ain't never got molested. They ain't never got raped. They ain't never got beat up. And they're killing themselves. And we lost. Like, why is this nigga killing himself? He got all the money in the world. You hear a billionaire, Kate Spade committed suicide. Or I don't know if you know that girl that recently committed suicide, Miss USA, that she was like, she jumped off. All these people, it's like, but what is going on, right? So we need this platform to talk about it, like, because it's not about if I get enough money or if I could you're always going to need more money. You're always going to need to improve your life. You're always going to want more, right? So you have to know how to navigate with this pain and uncertainty in life where you could kind of groove through without like isolating yourself, without wanting to commit suicide, without having suicidal ideation. How do we do that? So I think that's why I say, when you guys have a chance, watch this documentary, because he gives these instant tools to kind of help people instantly how to deal with this depression. Right. And something we don't talk about. We don't talk about depression.
And it's funny that how you ask us, like, we all been depressed before. Like, it's funny because I know I have homies that still don't understand what depression is, but they'll be like, I'm in a slump, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? I ain't feel that's depression. You are depressed, my man. Like, and then I don't get depressed. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's the whole, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's why it's like, as far as male mental health, black men mental health, we have a lot of work to do with it. And I feel like it begins with just understanding, like, it's okay to not be okay. You get what I'm saying? It's okay.
So why do y'all think, as men, why do you think guys are so, like, it's taboo or ashamed to talk about mental health or go to therapy?
The stigmas, man. It's like, and then it's like, it's the
easily taken for weakness.
You don't want to seem like a bitch.
In the last, let's say, in the last 5 years, women just started to understand the feminine male. You get what I'm saying? The dude that's like, you get what I'm saying? He's in tune with his emotions. The vulnerable male. Like, you know what I'm saying? He's in tune with his emotions. He might do a little, he do mani-pedis and he do facials and
R&B.
R&B and all. You know what I'm saying? Hey, and that, to the point where it's like, I like R&B. That's why I got a facial last haircut. I went and got a facial and all. I gotta go get, I'm trying to get into the mani-pedi shit.
I'll be telling people, I'll be like, yo, you can't invite somebody over. You gonna play trap music the whole time she in the crib? It's like, you need an R&B vibe.
And even the music, and if you ever, like, because I be in PA and I be in the zone sometimes, so I really be like I'm not around my friends and family on the regular, so it's like, I'll tap, and one day I remember I was heavy, drill, King Von, RP, I'm listening to Ball like, then I ain't gonna lie, once he lost, I was fucking with his music, so I'm like, all right, start listening to some other shit. I listen to Oshun got like, it's like two females, they do their thing. But it's like, it'll tell you, like, if you ever notice, you be so drill music, it give you that, you be revved up. You ready, that's workout music. You be ready in there, knock something out, and then it change your whole like brain chemistry kind of with the music. Like you start listening to R&B, now you mellow, you chill, you get what I'm saying? Like, and every kid out, and it's like, I feel like it's like the world we live in right now is gauged for people to go crazy. You know what I'm saying?
It's
if
too
you
much.
don't have the
social
proper
media,
tools that you social media.
Let me tell you something, man.
TV, everything.
We gotta pay bills. We gotta
talk about it.
Groceries is expensive.
Talk about it.
Like, man.
Talk about it.
People got kids. It's a lot, yo.
It's a lot.
Everything is expensive. So, people, like, you seeing people die every day. Like, we had to deal with COVID. Like, shit is a lot, man.
Yeah, I think that, especially like bringing up the fact, like being a parent. So I'm not you're a parent though, right, Kobe?
Yeah, I have 2 beautiful daughters.
Oh, congrats. Well, that's beautiful. Bless them. So from that perspective, because you're a dad, so how important is it for you, like as a dad, to be there for your daughters and take care of your mental health?
Girl dad.
And you're a girl dad.
Twice, bro.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, you only make girls.
Salute Carly, man.
No, salute to their mother, for sure. She's the one who holds it down.
That's a fact. Salute to her, too.
She deserves all the credit, for real. But no, going back to what you were asking, I think it's incredibly important because one of the things that I learned when my first daughter was born is that I wasn't always coming home with the right energy. And if you bring some of the stuff from work back home and you allow that to dictate how you're interacting with your kids, bro, that's incredibly toxic. So you got to make sure that you're bringing the right energy with your kids or to your home.
Or check yourself at the door.
Absolutely, because if not, that really can have impact on them. Right. You know what I'm saying? And I think the second part is it's incredibly tough because as a parent, you never really know how what you're doing will manifest itself in their life. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't get to do it twice. You literally only get to have those conversations with them one time. And I mean, the conversations can continue, but I'm saying
I get what you're saying.
They're growing exponentially every single day. They're sponges. And like as they go through life, you'll never really know for sure if you did it the right way. You know what I'm saying?
And there's no rule book.
Because there is no right way.
And there's no rule book. There's nobody hands you a book how to be a dad.
Listen, I read the parenting books. That shit don't help. That shit don't help. All the answers ain't in there, bro. I tried. I looked.
You said I read the parenting books.
I swear. And like you can get some tools. Tools are important. That's very important. But at the same time, it's like you never really know, so you just have to do your best.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it is checking your ego. You know what I'm saying? Because like the
Absolutely.
way that I came up, there was no talking back. There was no negotiations. The conversation was, hey, I told you this, right?
Yeah.
That's
now,
my
now
guy.
it's now it's
I was like, shit.
now
that
it's
was it.
gentle
That's it.
parenting.
That's
Gentle
my guy.
parenting is a thing.
Man,
Listen,
I have so
man.
many conversations with my 7-year-old daughter. It's incredible. Like she has the ability to give me feedback. You know what I mean? Because I want her to not just be somebody who moves through the world accepting authority figures. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She got to be able to find her own voice. And so I feel like she can get those reps right now. And then by the time she's 18,
She'll be able to talk to you about anything.
Exactly. So because she had the reps in decision making, and she had the reps in giving feedback and making her own decisions, and so
That's dope. That's dope. Yeah, I think I asked you because a part of therapy whenever you guys do go to therapy, right? A lot of our behaviors now all stems back to our childhood, right? And our parents. Mental health was not a thing back then, right? There was no, like you said, it was I said what I said and you do as I say and that's that. There's no conversation, there's no talk back. If I gotta hit you, I'm gonna hit you and that's that, right?
Yep.
Not realizing how that affected us, right? Even as an adult, right? There's things that we do, our behaviors we do that, like this is things I learned as I'm in therapy. It's like, why do I do this? And then it's like, okay, think back, right? My therapist guides me and helps me to think back. And I'm like, oh, this is why I do it because my mother was wilding back then. And I love my mother to death, right? She didn't know any better, like you said. She was doing the best that she could. Their times are a lot different than ours, right? They was on survival. They was on some racism was way crazier back then. My parents are super old, so I like to my dad's 80. Like it's crazy, right? So my dad's he's a senior. So he was born in 1942. So he was alive when there was segregation, and my dad is black. So his perspective is like
Totally different.
He like this world is fucking crazy. Now back then, like you couldn't be gay, you couldn't be. So he's like it's going crazy. So their perspective was different. They was built on survival and stuff. Like I gave you clothes, I gave you food, I gave you shelter. I did a good job. And it's like but you didn't teach me how to handle situations where I'm like stressed out. You didn't teach me how to handle how a man's supposed to. There's a lot of tools you didn't teach me how to navigate through life, like emotionally, taking care of my mental. Nobody spoke about that, so it's not to blame them because they came from different times. But now that we know better, it's important to
pass it on.
Pass it on where it's like have these conversations. Which poll?
No, it's a quote. Piggybacking off what Kobe said. It's not loading, but he said, as a man in your household, like when you come in, you're supposed to leave, like I said, you're supposed to leave whatever you're going through at the door because he said these people looking up to you.
for sure.
You know what I mean? So if you come in on bad energy, they're gonna sense that and it's gonna rub off. So he was saying it's okay to cry in the car, let it out, but as soon as you come back in the door, you gotta not put on this perception that everything is put together, but you gotta show that you're strong for your children. I'm looking for the exact quote, but it's not.
And that's important too.
It's right, but then it's also, I feel like it's like 50-50 with that. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're going to strive for that's like putting more stress on your mental. You know what I'm saying?
That too.
Because if you don't deal with it, but then it's also like what we spoke about, like how we got to be tough. But then it's like, I want to show my kid it's okay to be vulnerable.
Yes,
it's okay to,
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to sit here and boo-hoo about them. But I'm not going to say boo-hoo, slamming doors, throwing shit at them.
Yeah.
But
not wilding out.
I'm not wilding out. I
but
want my child to
showing
see
them vulnerability is important.
daddy or
He having a
mommy
bad
or whatever
day.
is having a bad day. You get what I'm saying? And maybe they'll learn a little, are you okay? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My kid now asking, you get what I'm saying? Things of that magnitude now,
and showing
then
them that
showing
people are
them
gonna have bad days, even you.
But then
right?
that's why I'm saying, then it's also because you might need to take, and that's why I say it depends on the household, because that it could apply, but then it might not apply. Like it depends on how you want to. Because I personally remember my shorty heavy on energies and all that. I used to be heavy, get upset at work, go through what I'm going through. Now I'm coming in the house and she could just feel it all.
That tension.
Like, and I'm wondering
It's
now,
growing.
I done shower, whatever, but it's still on me, and she just moving funny. Now I go, what's up with you? I'm fine. I'm like,
You already know.
why you
the
acting
vibe.
like that? Why you acting? I'm just like, I'm all right. She like, no, you ain't. I'm like, you right. I'm like, I ain't. But then she become my therapist. You get what I'm saying? Like, now she, man.
It's not her responsibility, though.
Right.
Just put that out there.
So-
it's not her
But
responsibility.
yeah, like that's why I agree with you. But then, like I said, it's always
Yeah, that's
that
why I'm
little
trying
bit
to
of,
find the
like,
exact
that,
quote.
like,
But what I would say too, now that I'm older, I like just from talking with my dad, like my dad like my best friend. So it's just like certain shit, I'm like, yo, why I didn't just go to school and do my homework and listen? You know what I mean? Because you never know what your parents was going through either.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? And like looking back, you just be like, yo, all this man wanted us to do was go do what we gotta do.
They only want the best for us.
And then, because you don't know what he went through at work, you don't know what he going through in life, this, and that. You're like, yo, all he wanted us to do was go to school and do what we gotta do. Now he got the teacher calling home and this, and that. Now we a burden on him. And now I'm older, I understand that shit.
But as a kid, you're not thinking about that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I think maturity brings about that appreciation
Yeah.
for sure. Because I appreciate my parents in a whole different
I'm
way.
telling you, yo.
Especially after I had my first daughter. Like,
I'm telling you.
at first, I was like, man, this is what y'all was doing? This is what y'all had to go through? Like, bro, it's stressful, but...
You look at that, you have a better understanding. I think I spoke about this on one of the other episodes where I was talking about like my relationship with my dad, right? So like my dad was like not super active. And I remember for a long time, I was like real resentful towards him for like years, you know, like daddy issues and all, you know, you want to everything I'm blaming on my dad, right? Like, oh, I can't fuck with this nigga, it's my dad. It wasn't him, you know? And then as I got older and I started to get to know him and have conversations, and then I'm starting to understand some things where it's like not giving the man an excuse, you know, but it's like I understand, right? You know, like putting myself in your shoes and trying to navigate what you was going through where you had no idea what you was doing, you know, like I get it, you know, and I can give you more grace. I could be more forgiving, and I could be like, you know, yeah, I love my dad, and I could let go of that anger towards you. You know what I mean? It's like I could forgive you because now I'm mature and I'm an adult now, so I could understand. You know, like you were doing the best that you believed you could. You know, so you know,
I met my pops. Now you tell one of those. I can't wait to see. I'm gonna fuck him up. He's like, yo, word him up. I'm like.
Because your dad wasn't active.
Nah, yeah, he wasn't active, but he used to be gassing me. Yeah, I'm gonna be at your own house. Go to my own house, he ain't there. So I'm like, motherfucker.
Right.
Like, shit like that. But I met him like 2 years ago for like the first time in like probably like baby pictures. Like probably 30 now. So it's like, I would say 25 years, some shit like that. And it was just funny, like, in my head, I'm like, I'm gonna whip his ass. But when I seen him, and I'm like, it was like looking in the mirror in time. Like, I'm like, this motherfucker looks smack like me. This how I'm looking when I'm old. Like, hold on. I'm like, all right, but then his energy was just like, you know, he had that. I know I did bad face, but like, I ain't know no better. And then once he said he was scared of my moms, I was like, I get it. Like, it was like, I get it. All right, I got you, bro.
So were you
like,
forgiven?
Yeah, I would say I was more so forgiving because it's like from speaking with him, I understood his maturity because I feel like even now I'm more mature than my father. You get what I'm saying? Like he just had I got a 2-year-old brother, so it's like shit like that. It's like bro out here still thugging and bugging. So I'm like, but stuff like that is just like, you know, like I just had to realize and be accountable. Like, I can't be. Why am I going? I'm blocking my own blessings.
You gotta let that hurt go.
Gotta just let it go. That man is who he is.
Right.
I spoke to him. I got that off my chest.
But now you're gonna be a better parent for when you have kids.
Right.
Stuff
because
like that. Like
from
and
your
just like
and not carry
breaking
on.
and I feel like that was more so like for
Breaking the
my
cycle.
mental because it's like I'm angry. Like I ain't gonna lie, I grew up a very angry kid.
And this
like,
is
I was
why
angry,
therapy is
you
so
don't never
important.
understand why you so angry. I got that from I was talking to my homie Mel.
Oh, okay.
But, like you wonder why you an angry kid and you trying to figure this out. I'm like, damn, this motherfucker wasn't there. I'm trying to figure. I'm getting in this situation. I got this, and it's just like, but I'm grown now. You get what I'm saying? It's like, what the?
You can't. You feel like you can't keep blaming that,
my biggest
right?
thing my shorty be hitting me with is, why you bitching? Like, no, she say that's a bitch ass nigga shit. And I be like, huh? But it make me think, like, you get what I'm saying? She's not calling me a bitch ass nigga. She said that is what you're doing. It's some bitch ass nigga shit.
So you remove yourself from the...
She understands from that context because she understands. She didn't grow up how I grew up. You get what I'm saying? She real Southern belly. So it's like, but she understands and she went to school for psych and stuff. So she understands like the way she need to say things that could say she could hit me with to make me bugging.
So
like,
I got a question
and
for
I'm
you.
also go ahead.
What's some ways you deal with your mental health or you keep your peace?
I was just about to
My
ask
production
that.
company.
Nice.
I had to develop something in which I'm always been good with my hands. You get what I'm saying? Like I like drawing and
So that's your form of therapy for you?
I won't smoke up. I'll be on my iPad for hours trying to edit something or do something. Won't think about a blunt. Even I would say probably I told myself medication smoking weed. But that's not, you know what I'm saying? Those I would say it would be the good thing is my production company, the computers, editing pictures, looking through stuff like that.
You got a niche.
Sometimes
You got a
meditating.
niche, yeah.
Like even like the whole
meditating.
Shorty put me onto the sage and stuff. I like the way that kind of like, you know, I got it like, okay, like this is.
So you meditate too? You try?
When I have time and I try to get in it.
You can meditate at any moment.
Because
for 3 minutes.
I'll go to sleep. If I'm sitting here too long and I'm like trying to grab I'm tired. I'm motherfucker be tired. Like I'm just up. Like so, it's like things. But my biggest thing is probably the pictures, production. The videos,
and that's a healthy outlet.
Flyer, somebody need that. I could. You know what I'm saying? Like go to this. I'm stressed about this. I'm thinking about work too much. Let me look at this or.
Yeah.
We'll tag it at the end. What about you, Kobe? What are some things you do to tackle, like currently now with your mental health? What are the things that you practice?
I would say the most common practice that I have is just check-ins. And so what that looks like is every once in a while, and it's random. It really is, because obviously, like everybody else, schedule be crazy. You got so much going on. But I just do a check-in of being like, asking myself the question of, how are you feeling? You know what I'm saying? And why, going deeper of like, okay, well, why are you feeling that way, right? What is it about that set of events or that sequence of events that has you feeling that way? It really kind of, like I was saying to you, just removing myself from the action. You know what I'm saying? Or like, I know that's very like theoretic, but what I'm trying to say is, it's not necessarily like the thought that you have doesn't have to be connected to you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because, you have the internal dialogue like we all do. And it's like being able to remove yourself from that internal dialogue is, I think, a good practice. And definitely the check-ins help me out with that. Because
so
it's like,
when you say check-ins, is it checking in with yourself?
Absolutely. Yeah, individual check-ins.
So now you got to talk to yourself.
For sure, yeah. Because I feel like if I don't do that, I could get out of pocket. You know what I'm saying? And then like I start acting in a way where I'm like, I'm really just lashing out. You know what I'm saying? Or it's like I notice like, oh, that's immaturity. Okay. That's not me. You know what I'm saying? That's just the immature, emotion that I'm going through at the moment, right?
Yeah.
My reaction isn't necessarily like, it doesn't have to be defined by the emotion. I can accept the emotion. I can process it. I can look at it for what it is. But then I don't necessarily have to take that and be like, all right, I got to run with this. This is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what the check-ins help me kind of break down.
And do you do that only when you notice you're like acting in a way that's not normal, or is it like you just like, I'm gonna check on myself?
I actually don't have a legit frequency, right? So
okay.
I should develop one for sure. I think it happens. Yeah, pretty much. It's very ad hoc. It's like, oh, when I feel like I'm bugging, that's when I'll take the step back and be like, wait a minute,
check in with yourself. Yeah,
am I tripping? You know what I'm saying? And then like I really go down that rabbit hole and like really try to figure out, all right, what was it about that situation that made me so uncomfortable? You know
what triggered it?
Yeah.
What
Absolutely.
Triggered it?
Yeah, for sure.
At least you can have that check-in with yourself and like literally check yourself. Like, all right,
sure.
bro, you know you was right.
I feel like everybody need that.
Absolutely.
Everybody at least need that, like that, like self-accountability meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
taking accountability.
Like, I feel like I got it, but to a certain extent. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have daily. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like how when it's like I have that.
Random check-in, like,
oh, I know I just did something fucked up. Like, you get what I'm saying? Oh, I just thought, you know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, I got to switch that a little bit, but I think I'm gonna start.
But like you said, a good point, holding yourself accountable too.
For sure.
Right? So being able to check yourself in a sense where you're like, yeah, you have to acknowledge your contribution to why you act like that. Yeah, this triggered me, but I didn't have to react like that.
Every action is a reaction.
Right.
And that's why it's so important to have those conversations with people in your life. Right. Because they can help you really, like, they're not in it. You know what I'm saying? Of course. It's like, when you're in the painting, it's very difficult to see the whole picture, and it's like somebody who's a little more dispassionate, even if it's a loved one, they care about you, they want what's best for you.
Yeah.
They seeing it a little differently than how you seeing it.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
What about you, Demi? What do you do?
I know for me, like sometimes I just get off work and I just come home. I don't turn the TV on, nothing, put my phone down, and I just sit. Light a candle and just sit sometime, or I go to the gym. That's very therapeutic for me. Everybody has their thing, you know.
Yeah.
I go to the gym. Like I got my notepad. I write stuff down, different things like that. But I'm usually the person that's like always checking in on everybody and making sure everybody good. But sometimes I'm not afraid to say like I've been depressed before. But sometimes the people that always check on everybody, they need somebody to check on them.
Amen.
You know what I mean?
Amen.
So I'm not ashamed to say like I went through my own little downward spiral.
When you feel like that, though, because I feel like I'm that friend too, right? I feel like I'm always constantly like I'm the therapist friend, so I'm always there for everyone else. I'm the strong friend, right? So I notice like for me, when I feel like I'm down or I'm depressed, it's really hard for me to reach out. Do you feel like that when you feel like depressed or you feeling
For
sad?
sure, because I'm always the like I said, I'm always the person checking in on everybody. So sometimes I don't even want to hit everybody with my problems.
Exactly.
Because I'm always the strong friend.
Yeah.
You know? So I don't want to be like, damn, like now I'm showing I'm the weak. I wouldn't say the weak person, but it's like, damn, I don't want to add more to yours because I know you're going through a lot already. You know? So like one thing for me, what helps me is sometimes I just sit in the dark and just meditate and just really like get lost in my own thoughts and just be like, okay, this is what you need to do. And I 9 times out of 10, I'll come out of it in like a day or two, and then I'll be fine, like nothing happened. But you got to pray too, you know what I mean? Pray, read. I like to watch documentaries and look at interviews and different things. And like I said, everybody has their own thing.
Right.
But you definitely got to have people in your corner who you can reach out to, who you can, you know, just really vent to.
Yeah.
And you gotta, like, we all gotta take things a day at a time and realize we all in this together. Like, the world is crazy. Like I said this at the Friendsgiving, like, people legit dying every day, like, over stupid shit.
Right.
You know, so and then we pick up our phone, we could leave here right now and we see some crazy shit just from sitting here in an hour and we just like, yo, what the fuck?
Yeah,
like
it's true.
People shooting up schools every day. Like, shit is crazy now. So we all gotta keep that in mind and just like love on your people, man. Some real shit.
Love on your people, check on your strong friends.
Question. You know how you said, like, you know, because I'm pretty sure we all are the individuals who check on other people. Do you sometimes feel like that sometimes? Because I'm trying to get, like, I kind of cut down on checking on everybody just because, like, I sometimes feel like that's draining. Like, other people energies come sometimes could reach on to you because now you start feeling like, you wonder why. I start to feel like a lot of their energies, like, because sometimes we be in so much of negative time, a lot of they, and you know, people come to you with their problems. They don't come to you with the good news all the time. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you'll probably see that on Instagram, but they're calling you about a problem.
Right.
So it's like, sometimes you start feeling like some of that shit is draining your energy and stuff like that.
I used to feel like that until I realized I'm the light in some people's life. So I had to check that and be like, you know what? You talking to them or you reaching out to them, you saving them. So that's something I gotta live with that God blessed me with.
Got you.
So you gotta, I won't say take the good with the bad, but you gotta live with it, you know?
You learned how to add, keep the flame lit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You learned how to keep the flame lit.
Exactly.
And that's important because I feel like the whole reason why I did this, I spoke earlier, I had a friend that committed suicide a few months ago. And, so much questions come up when someone commits suicide, right? You feel guilty or you feel like, damn, could I have helped him? I didn't know he was going through this, and I could have reached out, and just for anyone that ever thinks, it's never your fault if somebody commits suicide, right? It's not your fault. But people have that programmed in their mind if that's what they want to do, right? There's nothing you can really do. But I think it's important that we do have these conversations and we do have that person that I could talk to if I am feeling like that, even if it's not a therapist, but my friend, my cousin, Mel, whoever the person is being, just checking and have these conversations. Just, you never know. Like Kadeem said, you're that light in somebody's life where they going through something.
You don't even know.
Yeah, and you don't even know, right? You have no idea. And you could have saved someone's life just by having that random check-in with them. So that's why I feel like it's important that, we create that whole thing. It's not just going to therapy. Therapy doesn't fix everything.
And I would say for me, I've been like that my whole life, That's just how I am. I'm real loving and real, Yeah. That's how I am. You ever seen Soul Food?
Yeah.
I'm the grandson that's trying to hold everybody together. Okay. And like my grandfather died when I was 5. So and he left 6. Well, he had more than, but he left the 6 women. Okay. So I always tell my aunts like, yo, and my mom like, I'm like, y'all need therapy. Like, he died when I was 5. My mom was only 25.
Okay, I get you.
You know what I mean? And now she's 51. So it's like, y'all don't, like Tiny said, you might not realize you need therapy, but you went through a lot. You lost your father at 26.
That's a fact.
And you have to recognize that. Like I said, just like our everyday life, that things we think is normal, that shit is not normal. It's not normal. Other people in other places never went through stuff like that, and they probably be messed up behind it.
Hell yeah, that's a big
so, that's the takeaway I wanted to give with this whole episode. I believe we over time, but thank you guys for coming.
This was lovely, man.
Thank you for being vulnerable. Always welcome back. You know that. Drew, you're always welcome. Kobe, always welcome. And I hope that the takeaway, the takeaway is that, other men see this and they become vulnerable enough to, check in with their people, seek out therapy, remember to check out that documentary I told y'all. I should reach out to them for a sponsorship or something. No, but I feel like the documentary was so powerful and people really need to see it. But it's called Stutz on Netflix, so it's really good. So, you know, just check in on everybody and give yourself some grace.
Absolutely.
Life is tough for everyone right now. So
everybody,
it's crazy.
Grocery stores is crazy.
The prices
bacon is like $10. Yo, shit is crazy.
Eggs and bacon, I spent like $20.
Shit is crazy, man.
Yeah, it's tough.
Inflation,
all time high.
And we're in the
inflation, gentrification.
We're in the toughest
education.
city.
Everything is expensive.
We're in New York City. It's a people dream to be here. I don't know why. No shade, Kobe. No shade, Kobe. But I don't know why people.
Come back.
Yeah, because New York City is the toughest city in the world.
I said I visit.
But
for sure.
yeah, trying to get out. We all trying to get out of New York. So
I know, son. I'm out.